Hello and welcome to Roni Programs. Today we are going to be wrapping up the new game dialogue sequence and also adding a set of controls to kind of the home screen of the app so that as people come on to try the latest version of this game, they have a quick reference for what the controls are. So let's go ahead and get started with this first story. Let's just mark this one in progress. And the acceptance criteria is we just want to add these remaining dialogue messages. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is copy that over. Oops, wrong test file. We want to copy it here. I think I do want to add test coverage for this dialogue sequence, at least until we have some kind of like generic dialogue sequence thing that we can test and be confident that it's working. But for now, I'm just going to explicitly add the test coverage here. So yeah, the first dialogue message we want to add is this one. And so let's just go ahead and write all our tests first. We'll add the dialogue messages in. It'll go quicker that way. So once we hit the A button, we expect that dialogue message to appear. We'll hit the A button again to see that menu. And we want to see this, of course, in lowercase. Okay, cool. So we have failing test because the text was not found. That's great. We said we were going to write all our tests first. So after that, we have this message. So just a little bit of copy-paste magic just to kind of get us going through. What is inhabited? Next message. Let's maybe try to speed this up just a little bit. So here, awesome. That one we can just do manually. Myself. I say Pokemon as a profession. Okay, great. So that's that sequence of dialogue. And then we have the whole this is my grandson part right here. So let's copy that. Then we have, what was his name again? So now, after this part, when we hit the A button again, we should see our name. So the name that we've selected is, we selected Ash. So we should see Ash, something like that. Got a couple more, messages to show after that. Just two, I guess. So yeah, not the most fun part of, building things out, but I didn't really want to skip any steps. I mean, sometimes the development process is a little bit, repetitive. We're just writing our tests here, but it's all good. And we won't probably be doing this for future dialogue sequences, so we'll suffer the pain now. Okay, so at this point, I think our tests are right. We'll find out when we start adding dialogues and the tests do or don't get farther. So right now we're failing at line 42. So let's go ahead and add some dialogues and see if we can get farther. We want the new game. That's the component we're looking for. So let's go ahead and another dialogue sequence with this label. What I want to actually do here is make the on-dismiss optional, so that should be relatively straightforward. If there's an on-dismiss, call it. If not, don't. Because like we don't need an on-dismiss for everything. Like this one doesn't do anything. So let's go ahead and run that. Cool, we're getting to line 48 now. So here, let's go ahead and just bring all these, bring this whole chunk into the new game. So we have quick reference to it. The next one has this label. In fact, we could even be, we're gonna be just a little bit cheeky here. Okay, cool. So this will be interesting. So let's go ahead and have some fun with this. Ah, that speeds it up. Cool. So now we can reorder them as we need to. So some people Pokemon are pets. Others use them for fights. Oh, I see. There's a where was that part? Up here. I think this should not have an exclamation point. Yeah, I think that shouldn't be there. Cool. This is my grandson. Ah. So this now needs to come later. So that's the first, what is your name, right? And then we have, this is my grandson. He's been your rival since you were a baby. And then we have these other messages. Cool. This one, we need to actually use the player's name. Awesome. So that's our dialogue sequence tested. Why don't we go ahead and just check it in the app, just for fun. So we see hello. Ah, so we do have a bug, which we should fix our test up. So where's the where's that part in the test? So yeah, so like this is where like having a dialogue sequence thing that we could really like test all the edge cases would be good. At this point, I'm not going to, like, we could check that the options, there's still no options everywhere, but like, I don't think that that's a great test just because it's cluttering everything up. So let's just go ahead and fix that. I mean, we manual test for a reason. So the on dismiss isn't there, but here. Let's go ahead and save that. So, yep. Sure, fight myself. So I study as a profession. First, what is your name? Yep. So now we click Ash. Right, your name is Ash. So my grandson, he's been your rival since you're a baby. We can fix this up now because this should also be where is it? Here we go. So we should only show the rival name menu after this message shows. So let's try that again. Ash, his grandson, his name is Gary. Ash, your own Pokemon adventure is about to unfold. What dreams adventures awaits? Let's go. Awesome. And then of course we will have the app crash because there's nothing left after that final dialogue message. But we've got it working the way we want. Let's go ahead and commit this feature, and we just called it finish new game dialogue sequence, right? Yeah. Cool. That was a quick one. Ooh, dear me. Let's actually go ahead and reset that just for a second because we left in this nasty comment. Let's go ahead and save that. And now we can, yeah, commit that. There we go. Great. Small hiccup, but that's fine. Yeah, let's go ahead and mark this one as done, and we'll just jump on to the next one. So controls description. So at the bottom of the screen, I should see a list of controls. So I gave this one a 2 because what I'd like to do is show the controls dynamically. So if we ever allow the user to override these, for example, then we'll kind of already have something in place rather than just using like text. So it doesn't really say how it should appear. I'm just going to kind of, throw something on the screen and make sure that the right information is at least showing. The other thing we have to think about is that this is kind of living at the top level of our app, so we might have to restructure our app component just a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a... let's start with the controls. So we'll call this controls description, something like that. Controls description test. So what should this do? I guess this should really just verify that, we really just care that the list of controls are showing up. I'm starting to think this would actually just be better in the app test. Just kind of thinking about it. Let's put this in the app test, because we'll probably be moving out the new game sequence eventually. So let's just create a test at the app level, which is shows list of controls to player. And in fact, I like that. Let's call this controls list rather than controls description. Controls list. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so what should we have test here? Well, really all that matters is that we render the app and we expect to see something on the screen. So what about, we expect something like A equals Z, right? Basically the A key maps to Z. We expect the B key maps to X. So we don't have a lot of these buttons implemented yet, but you'll kind of see where this is going. So down, left, right, up, start, and select. And so these are going to map to arrow down, arrow up, no, arrow left, arrow right, and arrow up. Start is going to be the enter key, select is going to be the shift key. Cool. So we've got our test now. Let's go ahead and jump into our controls list so we can start working on this thing. Controls list. And we'll return a stub for now. Controls list stub. Just so that we can render it from the app and see it in our test window over here. So I think the first thing I want to do is I want to extract basically all this code into like a game. I think I'm just going to call it like the game, because there's like the game window and then the list of controls that are separate. So let's do that first. Let's basically just take all this and drop it in this game component. Oh, okay, I see. We need to bring in our imports as well. Cool. Oh yeah, and these will just be in the same directory. Oops. Cool. So we'll have a game component, and then the app can just render a fragment. One of the things it's going to render is the game. Let's save that and make sure our tests are still passing, except for the list of controls. Everything's still passing. We can kind of clean this up. Awesome, and then we can go ahead and create our, or add our controls list as well. Cool, so now we see there's a controls list stub over here. So interesting, so something happened here. We broke something. So without the controls list, everything's fine. When we add the controls list, why does this break? Could not find an element with the text. I wonder if it's because this, so I have a theory. I have a theory that it's because this is not in like a p tag or a span. So the div has the text first, what is your name controls list stub. Yeah, this div no longer has just this text because we're matching on the full string, not on a regular expression. So I'm wondering if there's a way to pass an option in the test that says something like exact. Let's see. Maybe we could do exact false. Yeah, so we can basically just say I want that to be on the screen, but it can have more than that. I think honestly probably the better thing to do instead of like going in and changing the test, because we know that our test code is in a good state. We can just jump into the dialog component and maybe just wrap this in like a span, something like this. That may fix the problem. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so that fixes the problem. So at this point, we haven't staged. Let's go ahead and stage because we're in a healthy state. We've got the controls list stub. Now what we want to do is actually start showing the list of controls. So remember, we defined a list of buttons to keys here in the controller listener. I think now would be a good time to export it so that the controls list can use it. And we can do something like, const, we can do it outside. Button names is object dot keys of the enum. So what is this called? Controller button key from the controller listener. Yes. Cool. So now we'll see what this eventually looks like in the browser, but let's just go ahead and map the button names. So call this button name, and let's just map it to like I don't know, like a list item. We can do some styling on it or whatever, but there's one item, and we can say button name equals controller button key of the button name. So yeah, it's going to give us a warning because we're not allowed to use strings to access this thing. We can fix that by saying object.keys of button controller is going to return key of button controller. An array of, is that right? TypeScript can be tricky sometimes. A button name, so that's not quite right. Oh, you know what? Maybe just that? Yeah, I'm not quite. I'm just trying to think about how we can access it. So the button name, I thought this was right. The button name needs to be a key of button controller key. What is, I just need to brush up on my TypeScript here for a sec. So, let's say type X equals key of controller button key. What does this give us? So that's not quite right. So let's see. We can do TypeScript enum key type. Yeah, how to get keys from enums. That's what I'm looking for. Object.keys. It's kind of ugly, isn't it? Is it? If we use a const instead, is this the right type? See. Oh wait, is it it might be like key in. No, huh? That's not it either. TypeScript enum key. Interesting, because an enum has the numeric mapping as well as the string mapping. Very interesting. Can we do like button name as controller button key? Something like that? We could just do something a little bit, we can just do something like, you know, we have the button names and we have the list of button keys. And we can just map the button name to the ith button key. This will work. And yeah, until I figure out how to do like the right TypeScript foo, I think that'll be fine. And of course we need a key here. The button name should be unique, so we can just use that. Yeah, I feel like there should be a really straightforward way to do what we're trying to do here. TypeScript foo is just a little bit off at the moment. So we need to actually go ahead and add the rest of the buttons here. So B is X, left is arrow left, right is arrow right, select is enter, no, start is enter. And we could add tests to the controller listener to make sure that we're mapping the buttons correctly. But our tests will, like, as we write more tests that actually use the arrow keys and start select, B, etc., that will catch problems. So we don't need to test it directly. We could, but we don't have to. So select equals shift. Okay, cool. So our tests are passing. Let's just go ahead and see what that actually what that actually looks like in the app now. So you can see sometimes programming is literally just Googling how to do certain things. So let's go ahead and we've got a list of controls right here. It would be nice if Well, first of all, we should probably wrap this in like a UL, since we're rendering list items. But it would be nice if we also had just like a little piece of text that let us know that, hey, this was the list of controls, something like that. Cool, we see now our list of controls, and why don't we just go ahead and kind of keep this towards the bottom of the screen so we can render this as a style, with absolute position and a bottom of, oh gosh, I might have to play around with this one. And let's keep keys in alphabetical order because OCD. So let's kind of open up the inspector here and get this right. So bottom is saying, okay, so bottom is just how many pixels from the bottom. So why don't we just make this bottom 0, and then it will always be at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, I like that. So let's say bottom 0, position absolute, refresh. We've got our controls, and as we play through the game, we can always see the controls on the bottom. Yeah, that's great. Until the app crashes because we've run out of dialog messages to show. Cool. Well, that feature is done, and let me just go through the diff here, make sure we don't have any kind of lingering comments I accidentally left in place. No, that looks good. So why don't we go ahead and commit this. We'll say feature, what did we call this? Controls list. Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. In the next episode, we might get into sort of the overworld part, and I say that with a little bit of hesitation because it's literally just going to be something that lets us know that, okay, now we're in a different part of the game, calling it the overworld. Like if we're lucky, we'll get a picture on the screen. We'll see what happens, but keep your expectations low. As you can see by the current state of the app, we are still sort of just focusing on the functionality, not so much the looks. Because I think once everything is in place, it becomes a lot easier to start building on those styles. And I don't want to get bogged down in any of those details too early on. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.